9 weeks left of growing. We had blood work and a deload last week. Let's see what effect that had on the body and where we are moving forward. Let's take a look at the physique first this week. So I'm a little bit hairy. This is just something that happens with me, especially in the off season where it's not as important to stay on top of my manscaping routine. It does take away from the physique ever so slightly, but it's just something that I think you can kind of let go a little bit in the off season. But from the physique standpoint, waist is staying nice and tight. Quads are still in fairly good nick. You can see that there's lines all the way up to the hip. The arms are starting to look a bit better. Delt and just top line thickness has definitely improved in the last couple of weeks. From the side, glute, leg thickness from the side is definitely improved. And just this top line here as well. Waist isn't really doing much in the sides of growth, which is exactly what we want. And from the rear, glutes are staying boxed off. Hamstrings, you can still see that they're there. They're still in the chat. And the width overall is just improving week on week. And I think that's down to mobility and obviously a little bit of size going on. So this is very, very positive. I find this side a little bit more difficult to get into. So we're never really going to see a full improvement versus the other side. But then we go to the front double. Hips are shifting nicely. Waist is staying tight. Quad is now getting better at being turned on while shifting to the side. Arms are improving. Would like to see elbows level, but I think I was a little bit tight there. Or just overall, just posing could be a little bit better there. Front lat spread. Didn't really get my lats out too much in that one, but you can see that there's no significant rolls as I'm pressing my hands into the side. Arms are looking better. Quads are still nice and feathered. Side chest, again, didn't turn on that glute, so that's something that I need to be working on. And just overall, just need to improve that pose and making sure that the hamstring is dropping. Chest is looking thicker. Arms are looking thicker. Side tricep, same principle. Arms are definitely coming up. Glutes are a little bit more on in this one, but you can see here that abs are still, you still got some oblique definition in there. From the rear, width is improving. Overall, I'm going to cut that there. This is just, I'm really, really pleased with how my physique is looking this week. Now, Nath did ask for some post-workout check-in photos, so I'm just going to quickly run through those. So this was after an arm day. I was quite bloated because I do 1.5 liters of water during training, but you can just see that there's just size, muscle has been added. You know, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet here, but we're just bigger. So you can see that I've also had a shave, but arm size has just improved. Legs are improved. Overall, I'm really, really pleased with how this off season is going. So now that we've had a look at the physique, let's get into the nuts and bolts and the check-in form itself. I want to interrupt this video just to talk to you about supplements. As a competitive bodybuilder, my performance, my recovery, and my health are all super important in my life. This is why I have been using Train by JP supplements for the last 5 years now. They cover everything from your pre, intra, and post-workout nutrition. They also offer health and joint supplementation. They also offer a nice stack and save option, which means that you don't have to think about which individual products you need. They're all there in a bundle package for you with a discount. If you click the link in the description below and use the code GPS10 at checkout, you'll get a 10% off your order. Now back to the video. The timeline is usually where I start at. So if we have a look, I've had a food increase this week, only going up about 200 calories. What this is adding in a carb meal before bed. Previously, as you would have seen from my post, I had a Ninja Creamy before bed. Now I'm using Train by JP Oats So Creamy. You can use my code down in the description to get yourself a discount on that. So that has been added in. Cycle-wise, after the blood work came back fantastic, as you would have seen from the previous video. So cycle, peak dose, we are looking at test at a gram, EQ half a gram. It sounds way more when you say grams rather than milligrams. Masteron's gone up to 400 milligrams and MPP has stayed the same. So you can see the comparison between the two. Based on blood work, that has been fine. And we'll run through my vital statistics as well in the daily tracker in a second. And you'll be able to see that actually it's almost had a positive effect, which is bizarre. Other than that, everything has remained the same. SLU got pulled out because I just ran out and wasn't necessary. Retatrutide still in at 0.5 milligrams. We still have urolithin. You can read it. At 500 milligrams every morning, which is capsule form, and thyroid has remained the same. Let's have a look at the tracker. Here's the tracker. We can see actually that over the week of the deload, I ended up dropping about 2 pounds. So what this meant is I then had an off-plan meal. Me and Nath discussed it. I had a sushi platter. Now, sushi platter, I'm actually going to put this in here of it while I'm here. 36 rolls. There was a deal on at my local sushi place, so I had to make the most of it. Now, I went up by about 3 pounds, but overall, nothing bad happened. It came off as quickly as it went on. And we then decided to repeat it. Now, I had a bit of a personal thing go on this week. Some of you may or may not know, but a previous partner of mine had passed away when we were together, and this would have been her 30th birthday. And sushi was something that we enjoyed together. So having that as part of like a memorial side of things was something that I wanted to do, and I typically do every year. So for me, just sitting down and eating that and thinking about her, just almost like a nod of respect. Overall, though, if we look at the weight change from the Saturday to the Sunday, we went up by close to about 4 pounds. This time didn't go up, well, went up 2 pounds. So my body is churning through it quite well. Now, I didn't have a great arm session the day after. Now, that's probably because I absolutely smashed legs. If you saw my week in review post on Instagram that I will be posting, that I have already posted today, you'd have seen that hack set that I did was probably the best one that I've done so far. Really focused on sinking it right to my heels, or as far as I can go. And yeah, I'm really, really impressed with that. Really proud of myself for doing that, which did carry over some fatigue into the next day. But ultimately, with 222 again this morning, which is the same after here, including having a food bump. So probably means we need a little bit more food going forward, but I'll leave that down to Nath. That is his role. That is his job. He doesn't have, I have emotions to my physique. He shouldn't or doesn't. And that's what he is there for. So, but if we look at my overall markers, so this was prior to blood work. My systolic and dystolic were about 121, 123. You can see them here. Average blood glucose reading of 4.4. During the deload, it came down to 120, so 119. When the cycle newly went in, it's now gone down to the teens. So my fasting blood glucose is lower. I had a weird day there, so if I take that out, then it's 4.3, but 4.4 on average. We're actually healthier according to my blood pressure and my blood glucose. Now, it's not even like the gear could be fake because it's literally the same vial that I was using beforehand. So I honestly don't know why. I'm just very, very fortunate that my body does handle anabolics extremely well. Really, really well. Every time I send something through to Nath, his response is something along the lines of, "You're not human, bud. What the fuck?" So really, really happy with that. Ultimately, there's not really much else to talk about with this week. It's just been ticking boxes. Weight has stayed kind of stationary. It seems to be doing what it wants, like what we want it to do. And my body is usually one of those ones that doesn't do what I want it to do. typically if I had had a sushi platter of 36 rolls beforehand, I'd have gone from 221 to about 227, 228. The fact that it was only that amount, I was expecting it to then peak on the Monday, but yeah, I'm really pleased with how things are moving. So overall, it's been a great week. I'll show you now the nutritional changes, but there's nothing really exciting in there. And then we'll just wrap up the video from there. A nice short one this week for you guys. So the food changes. Previously, what we had was 350 grams of red potatoes, which we pulled down to 300. This is down to keeping the electrolyte balance in check, I believe anyway. I didn't actually ask, but I would imagine so. So red potato has quite a bit of potassium in it, but so does oats. So now you can see here everything in bold. I mean, that didn't change. That didn't. And actually, I have put in raspberries instead of that because it doesn't really matter, and I really like raspberries. So he usually puts in frozen mixed berries just for pick which ones you want, mate. Don't really mind. So I usually go for raspberries or blueberries, and that's down to me. That's my choice. I just like the consistency of it. Consistency being the frequency rather than the actual consistency of the food. So they're the two changes. Is we've now gone to 50 grams of carbs pre-bed, keeping the fats the same. Overall macros is now up to 450 gram of carbs on a training day and 400 on a rest day. And I do think this will probably be going up at some point. Water intake still at 6 liters. Now I do typically do a little bit more than that. I've monitored my caffeine a lot better. I use an app called High Coffee, which is something that logs the half-life and the milligrams of things. It is something that I really, really enjoy, is caffeine and coffee. So to keep a lid on it is very important for me because I could easily do 10 cups a day because I just enjoy it so much. So overall, not really much has changed food-wise. It's just working. So thank you very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and leave any comments down below of what you'd like to see or how I can improve these videos. I'm really trying hard to improve the quality of these, not just for the viewers, but for myself as well. It's a big learning experience for me. So thank you again, and I'll see you all next week.